The last new timing rule we'll discuss is the LHSAA bylaw allowing for running clock operations. Now, these operations will apply to all games from the Jamboree through the state championships. But running clock operations involve more than just turning the switch on and letting the clock run. There are times to stop the clock, and we'll talk about that now. First, let's talk about when running clock operations begin. There are two ways it can happen. The first is a mandatory way, and that's when a team gains a 42-point lead over its opponent. Once that happens, running clock operations begin, and the game clock will next start on the ready for play for the subsequent kickoff. There's also an optional way that the running clock operations can begin, and that's when both coaches and the referee agree to begin running clock operations, and that can be at any time during the game. When that happens, the game clock starts on the next ready for play for whatever the next down is. The important thing to remember is that once running clock operations begin, they continue until the end of the game. There's no changing it, and there's no going back. Even if the score gets close, and even if the coaches agree to return to normal timing, they can't. Running clock operations go to the end of the game. However, the referee may invoke Rule 346 when appropriate. So how does the game clock operate when we're in running clock operations? What's different from normal timing? What's the same? Well, let's talk about first the situations when the game clock doesn't stop, but it ordinarily would in regular time. The clock does not stop after a touchdown, after an incomplete pass, when the runner or loose ball goes out of bounds, after Team A or Team B are awarded a new series, or for routine penalty enforcements. We stop the game for a basic penalty for encroachment, pass interference, personal foul, and it's something very simple. Keep the clock running and efficiently enforce the penalty. But here are the times when the clock does stop under running clock operations. It will stop after a try, after a field goal attempt, after a touchback, after Team K or Team R are awarded a new series, after a long, complicated penalty, something in which you may have to discuss for a while or get options from coaches, a timeout, either taken by a team or for an injury, an equipment issue, or heat and humidity, for a measurement. Now, there probably won't be a lot of measurements in a 42-point ball game, but remember that running clock operations continue to the end of the game. They never revert to normal timing. So you may have a situation where the team behind is coming back and is close in score, and in that situation, you may have to take a measurement. If you do, the clock stops for that. And finally, the game clock will stop if the referee invokes Rule 346. Again, probably won't have to do that in a 42-point ball game. But if a team is coming back and Team A decides to take several delay of game penalties just to run the clock out, that wouldn't be fair to the team that's coming back and is within a score. In that situation, Rule 346 could apply. So if the referee invokes Rule 346, the clock will stop. So let's say you're in running clock operations, something has come up that has caused the clock to stop. When does the game clock restart? It's two things to remember. If it is stopped for a charged team timeout or because the referee invokes Rule 346, the game clock will start on the snap. If the game clock was stopped for any other reason, the game clock will start on the ready for play. If you need any more information about running clock operations, it's listed at Part 4 of the Football Officiating Manual.